Nowadays, there's a lot of people on YouTube that call themselves disciples, apostles, prophets. And they think that all they got to do is make YouTube videos and recite a few verses out of the Bible, and that somehow makes them, well, I don't know, holier than thou or whatever, or experts or whatever. And they preach not quite a prosperity gospel, but pretty close. They try these quote unquote prophets try to talk about how, oh, God came to me in a vision and what you're going through and this, that, and the other is going to come to an end and blah, blah, blah. They also talk about, oh, you're going to get a new home, you're going to get a this, you're going to get a that. And, you know, and what happens is with these people is that's very misleading. It's false prophecy, number one. But it also causes us to forget that there is a cost to be a disciple. Now, what does it mean to be a disciple? Well, it means someone who preaches and teaches the Bible. You don't have to go to school, seminary, or any of that to do that. We, as everyday Christians, are actually commanded to do that by God. We take what our knowledge is, be it as limited as it is, and help those who don't know about God and about the Bible and teach them what we know. And if it's above our pay grade, we introduce them to people who are more knowledgeable. That's what being a disciple really is. It's not just a label we can put on our YouTube channel or make us look good or sound better or sound like we're smarter than we are. But there's a cost that comes with that, guys. And it's kind of expensive. Let's take a read here. Luke chapter 14, verse 25, starting there. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, his wife and children, his brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Anyone who does not carry his cross and follow me cannot be my disciple." Verses 28 through 32 talk about a builder and a king a builder building a house and a king going to war. Basically, he's saying, won't the builder first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? For if he lays the foundation and is not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule him, saying, this fellow began to build and was not able to finish. In other words, this person did not prepare. He wasn't prepared to do this. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Will he not first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the 20,000 coming against him? If he is not able, he will send a delegation while the other is still far away off and ask for terms of peace. In other words, see what's really going on, see the big picture. Verse 33 says, in the same way, any of you who does not give up everything he has cannot be my disciple. So that kind of goes against all the preachings of the prosperity preachers, doesn't it? Or the guys like Kenneth Copeland and who was Jesse Duplantis and Joel Osteen, who like to talk about how, well, I couldn't preach the gospel as good as I do if I didn't have a private jet and limousines and the best clothing. And look, I live in a mansion. Well, Jesus would have done that. Jesus would have had a private jet. Jesus would have had an SUV and the best, finest of clothes. I think what they forgot was that Jesus didn't have any of that. Now, of course, that wasn't around back when he was around. I get that. But what I'm saying is the best of the very best. He wasn't being carried around by the disciples. They weren't on the finest, strongest donkeys. They walked everywhere. They wore normal clothes. They didn't go to the finest restaurants. They ate when they could, what they could. You know? And the disciples who followed Jesus were in the same boat. They left their homes, their families, their occupations to follow Jesus. With that came 3 years of learning directly from the Lord, our Messiah. What better way to learn how to do what they were going to do when Jesus left them? Because it says here, let's flip the page here, to Matthew chapter 8, verse 18. We'll start there at verse 18. Matthew 8, verse 18. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to cross the other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man," that's Jesus, "has no place to lay his head." Okay. I think we forget, a lot of people forget, or they never knew, that the whole of Jesus' ministry, the whole time he was out there preaching and traveling and preaching, he was homeless. He didn't sleep in the finest of hotels either. They slept where they could find. Okay? They ate where they could eat. And they wore the same clothes everyone else did. That's the cost of simply following Jesus, because the disciples who were following Jesus were in the same boat. They were essentially homeless too. Now, I've said it before in other videos. Right now, I'm living in my van after my divorce. And at first, I had pity parties and felt sorry for myself and woe is me. But after reading that, I realized, wow, if Jesus was homeless, who am I to crab and cry about being homeless? Especially when I'm working this ministry. This isn't my ministry, it's God's. He just has me working on it. I'm his employee, basically. But who am I to crab and cry if God's Son, our Messiah, was homeless whilst he was working on his ministry? Who do I think I am? Do I think I'm better than Jesus? No way. Okay, I live in my van. At least I have my van to lay my head in. It rained last night. I had no worries. I heard it hitting the rooftop of my van, and I didn't get a drop on me. Okay? So, I got nothing to cry about. And like I said, if Jesus was willing to be homeless, who do I think I am? I'd better be willing to be too. All I have is what's in this van. Okay. But you know what? It's more than what I need. I don't hate. God isn't saying hate them and going to despise your own faith. It's not what he's saying. What he's saying is never put them before God. Never before God put anybody. Yeah, I still love my ex-wife. I love my children. But I love God more. And I always will. God knows how much I love them. He knows how much I miss them. He knows how much pain I'm in being away from him. He knows all that. But I know it'll be temporary. I just don't know how. I don't know if he's going to reconcile our marriage. I have no idea. I still get to see them once a week. Because once a week I get to go to their house and have a shower and do laundry and visit with them. So at least I have that. And I could text them, call them at any time. So at least I have that. But again, guys, ask yourself, if you really want to follow God, you really want to do God's work, ask yourself and honestly answer, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to give up? Okay? You need to think about that. Think long and hard and be very, very honest with yourself. All right? That's all I got for now. Be blessed.